Thank you so much for making some time on this Tuesday morning. This is a really great, we were kind of like, I don't know how many Post-its to bring, maybe this much is enough. It was not enough, so that is a great sign. Thank you very much. So today we are going to be talking about building independence, one step at a time. If you've come to our open houses, you know that this is the topic that we always start with. It's something that we think is the foundation of learning, the foundation that really kind of drives everything else that's to come, and something that we think is really, really important. So, my name is Erin Skripnik. I am one of the pre-K teachers. Sarah Haroon. And Miss Anna gives her apologies. She is not feeling so well today, so we're going to do this without her. So here is our mission, our values, and our attributes, something that I'm sure you have seen before. And this is our plan for today. So we're going to start with an inclusion activity, and then we're going to go into just right challenges, the role of the environment and the home environment. So hopefully some tips and some tricks that you can pick up on and make some changes. The takeaways, we're going to do a little bit of reflection, and then we'll have a time for questions. So we are a Reggio Emilia inspired school. This is something we really believe in. This is something we really connect with. And in Reggio Emilia approach, a child is viewed as capable, strong, powerful, and has rich potential, possessing inherent curiosity and the right to actively participate in their own learning. So when we think about independence, being an active participant in your learning is really, really important. For those of you who are at our last Talk Tuesday, you know Dr. Becky, big heart. Yeah. And so we are going to start with a clip from what she talks about, and she does it more from an anxiety point of view, but really what we know about anxiety is when children feel confident and capable, that really is an antidote to having those feelings of, I can't do this. So if we can just play that.
I really believe the antidote to anxiety is capability. And I'll give you an example, we steal our kids' capability all the time when they're young in the name of short-term convenience for everyone. So here's an example. I remember this day, my oldest was now 13. He's like 3, he was really into puzzles when he was 3. And puzzles are like really hard, right? He was working on it, and he did something like, I can't do it, the classic line, which I just want everyone to know, like no part of me is like, love that sound. No, like nobody likes whining, okay? But to me, those are our like, bang for our buck moments. They're not our easy moments, they're our bang for our buck. My kid's gonna learn something about how to deal with situations they don't think they're capable of completing. That is such an important lesson.
So, as we sit here, maybe you have thought of something like, oh yeah, the puzzle one, absolutely connect with, we're like, yeah, it just goes here, maybe if you turn it. But there are so many other examples of things that we know our child can do, and we kind of just try to do it so that we can get out the door faster, so that we can start dinner quicker. And so really the next step is, this is our inclusion activity. I want you to just take a minute and reflect on something that you feel that your child is capable of doing independently, but is not currently, because of kind of that idea. So what is something that you do for your child that you feel and know that they can do independently? And then if you just write it on a sticky note and just put it here. All right, is there anybody who is willing to share what they wrote?
Yep. Walking across the street holding hands instead of being the foot in stroller.
Thank you.
Someone's keeps falling off.
It's a big one. I've tried many times to stop it, but we need to learn how to drink from an open cup. So we're still using the straw ones because every time we try it's messy.
Sarah?
Getting him dressed in the morning so we can leave on.
I think she could be assisting with leaving her lunchbox and snack box. I just think that there should be like more incentive to keep it. She definitely have to help with that.
Bath time.
Bath time. Yeah, I see taking a bath, feeding, showering, brushing teeth. So these are all examples of what we are now going to call just right tasks. What they are is tasks that are not too easy, not too hard, developmentally appropriate, age appropriate. These are some more examples, maybe some that you have already heard. But what we want to do today is help you to figure out how do we start? What do we do? And so really, it's going to be about breaking it down. When we look at any of the tasks here, it's not just a one step and you're done. Put your shoes and socks on, let's go. It's not just we're putting our shoes on and we're out the door. There's so much more that goes into it. And so these are big tasks. And what we then teach our kids as we're breaking it down is that when we're learning something, it is steps. That's, executive functioning. That is what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. It doesn't matter what we're learning. A grade 5 math problem, learning to knit and crochet. It doesn't just happen. We need to break it down and learn how to do it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break down taking off your shoes, putting your shoes on. This is something that K1, pre-K, you hear us saying, please practice doing this. They need to be able to do it. We're doing it all the time in school. This is really important. But for this simple task of putting on your shoes, when we were talking about it, there's up to 7 different steps here. They have to put their socks on, they have to open their sock, they have to put their shoe in, they have to be able to have their 2 hands on their socks and looking at their foot, not looking up in the sky. And this is what we're seeing all the time, so they have to pull them all the way up. They have to figure out what shoe goes on what foot. That's a task in itself. Opening the Velcro, there are just so many things to it. So when we want our child to do something, we need to be able to sit and kind of go through all of the steps. They might be able to do step 1, 2, and 3, and then get stuck at 4. And now they can't do it. They don't want to do it. It becomes a fight. So being able to take some time and recognizing, oh, this is the part that they're having a hard time with. Let's work a little bit more on this. And then it kind of continues down the steps. So recognizing that when we want our kids to do something, that expectations of now you're going to eat by yourself. Well, there's a lot more to just eating by yourself. So let's break it down so that we can support.
So just talking about Reggio and the image that we have of the child as capable and strong and able to do these tasks, our trust communicates so much. When they see that we trust that they can do a task, it's already bolstering them for the task ahead. It's really important that we are offering them tasks that are meaningful, so not just wash the windows to keep busy for 5 minutes. It's let's do a task that is really meaningful and is going to help you with your development. Providing those just right challenges, not too easy, not too hard. If you provide a just right challenge and halfway through you're like, oh, this is actually pitched way too high, that's okay. Just step back and think to yourself, okay, what step can I put in place here to get them to where they need to go? So sometimes that might be, I'm going to put the sock halfway on, you pull it up the rest of the way. So thinking about how you can break it down and scaffold it for them and not just kind of giving up. And when we model that and we model, persistence and practice, we're helping them build their resilience, which children are not born with. That's something that they have to learn, and it needs to be modeled for them. The power of stepping back and giving them space. Sometimes we are too quick to jump in, and it's okay to step back. And even when they are starting to get frustrated, it's okay to stay back and just offer them encouraging words and support. And you know what? I am guilty of doing this with baby-led weaning. My child can take the spoon, and I'm looking at the mess, and I'm going, I just want to put it in your mouth. But I have to give her the time to be messy and make that mess. But when we trust in them, they will get there. So just on setting realistic expectations, begin with a plan. So don't just wake up on Monday morning and go, we're going to master shoes today, we're going to get them on. It's not going to work that way. You need to have a plan and share that plan with your child. It's like me turning around to you, you're working with me for the day, and I have a plan in my head, and you don't know the plan, and you're just kind of trying to follow me on for the day. It's not going to work. So when you communicate a plan, they know what to expect, they know what's coming. And sometimes we are busy and we forget to communicate these things. I do it to my husband all the time. I have an imaginary schedule in my head that I haven't communicated to him, and then there's frustration. So make sure that you are communicating that with your child. Use visuals if you need to. First this, then this. So first socks, then shoes. Make sure you have lots of time to practice. 7:45 on Monday morning is not the time to practice. So making sure that you are doing it maybe in an afternoon or an evening time on the weekends, that you have time and you're not rushing them, because the more we rush them, the more anxious they get. Come on, get your shoe on, we have to go, we have to get out the door. So making sure you don't have to be anywhere. You're not in a hurry. Making sure you're reinforcing positively. So I really like how you tried 3 times, 4 times, and then you got it. Making sure that everyone in the house is aware of this plan, including if you have your youngest and you have older siblings, because the older siblings will just take their bag for them, or they will help them with their shoes because they don't know. So making sure that you talk to everyone, whether that's your caregiver at home, your husband, siblings. You know, we really want Lila to start carrying her bag on her own. So if it's okay with you, we're not going to do it. We're going to make sure she does it on her own in the morning. So just making sure, because older siblings, they love to look after their younger siblings. So making sure that they are on the same page with you, and it's the same with language. So first and then is a good one. So first up, then shoes, or I'll start, you finish. So making sure that you're using the same kind of language around the tasks also helps. The power of I can do it. So I'm sure you've experienced this when your child does master something for the first time. And as a teacher, this is one of my favorite things when, you know, a child who maybe hasn't been able to put their shoes on does it for the first time. And they're like, Miss Gemma, I did it, I can do it. So it's the power of I can do it. It builds their confidence, builds their self-esteem, makes them realize that actually, you know what, that was really hard. And I practiced and I got there. So again, building resilience, building problem solving, helping them to, because they'll also come up with their own strategies. So fostering that resilience and the persistence, and then just encourages them to make decisions. You know, if I put my shoe on first and I don't put my sock on, I have to start all over again. So making them realize, oh, actually I need to put my sock on first, then my shoe.
This week I had a little friend who was trying to put on shoes and socks, and I was watching her, and she was trying, and she did it. She stopped, and she went, oh, I'm a big girl! You know, and it was like, that was such a moment for her to really recognize that she is capable. And like, I have goosebumps because she was just so proud of herself. And so that is what we're looking for. And that's the confidence, and that's the capabilities that we want them to recognize in themselves.
Especially if they have an older friend, sibling, cousin, and they recognize, oh, I can do that now. I can do that like the way they were able to do that. Yeah. So a quick practice with your neighbour. We'd like you to break down the steps to I can tidy my toys. So really quickly have a quick chat and think about what kind of steps would you need to put in place to help them tidy up their toys. So, and this is it. Every child is going to look different, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. So you might, for your child, need 3 steps. Another person might need 7 steps, and that's okay. You just need to meet your child where they are. But these are some of the steps that we identified, and again, you picked up on one that we didn't, that we do every day. And just remember that children do still need an adult in close proximity to build on these tasks. So it's not going to be, you know, you've done it once, that's it. I'm out. You need to stay with it and persist with it, in order to build that independence.
To add to this,
Yeah.
Do you have any, so with my son, he will put the toys away, but on the way to putting the toys away, he then starts to play with something else. Do you have any recommendations
I'll
for
speak
how
to that.
Yes, you maybe you're seeing this with me?
Yeah, so I like to always model first. So I usually get my friends, my kids in the circle, and I would say, this is how I clean up the toys. Am I running to the shelf? Am I crawling to the shelf? Am I grabbing things in the way? Am I putting food in my mouth as I'm walking? So I model the correct behavior, the desired behavior, and then I actually ask each child to show me to measure the success criteria. So I'm like, oh, and Felix did it, amazing, everyone clap. Now I know you can do it again.
Yeah, because he typically does this crawling thing or like trying to
Yeah.
get away, and then it takes forever for that one toy to go back to where it was.
Yeah, so once I see that he can do it, so I can say, oh, so next time when we clean up, this is how you need to clean up. So when he does that behavior, then I can remind him, oh, remember we practiced last time, let's do it together. So then we do it together, and then maybe I'll ask a friend to do it with him, and then he can do it independently. So that's the idea of scaffolding, where I'm not going to just say it and expect them to do it. Every child is different. So some children, I might just say it once and they immediately understand what to do. Other children might need other skills or other areas where I can kind of say, oh, you know what, Felix maybe needs my hand to do it together, that he feels capable, he needs reminders. So I can adjust sort of my technique based on the child's needs.
Hi, so if you have little ones at this age with the ALC, or where they don't have the same time, we get them after you've been in class with them all day, they come home, there is a timeline of reaching bedtime, and so like, let's say we do let them eat, and they're eating by themselves, but then like the last 30%, you know, we just don't have 3 hours to be patient with them. Like the other kids have already modeled, they're eating, they've run off, and you know, like we are trying to then scoop it in your mouth to get the day going or get the night going. So how do you balance between letting them be independent and finding it, and then, you know, that crunch time as a mother, like nighttime?
That's huge. I mean, time is an abstract concept in our minds. So usually the parents are the ones that are keepers of the time. You know, you can read the time, you can read the watch. Kids cannot do that. So what we do in the classroom is we use visual timers. And it doesn't mean that they have to do everything on their own, but I can say, for example, in all of our classes, we have a visual timer, a sound timer. So I can say, okay, for this much time, you're going to play, and then we have to clean up. So for your child, for example, you can have a small visual timer and say, for this much time, you're going to eat by yourself, and then we have to do X, Y, and Z. So the more that you allow them to understand the steps of what happens, again, you're not keeping the plan in your mind, your child has to be aware. And we do that in the class by having a visual schedule of the day. Or let's say I need to get ready to go to Miss Tina, we have music, but now they're playing. So usually I can say, I'm sorry, we cannot, because Miss Tina is waiting for us, and we can only do this for this much time. They understand, and they're usually, oh, okay, and I can save it, and I can come back. So similar with snack, like there are days where my kids are running behind, I have to take them to PE, we have to come back, I have to make sure everyone went to use the bathroom, make sure they all wash their hands. So there are still a lot of steps that we have to manage in the classroom, but we address that by saying, you know what, we have to do this for this much time so we can be ready. Let's say a child is in the middle of doing a puzzle, they're playing, they're really excited, then I give them a saving block. So they don't feel like, oh my goodness, now like all the things. No, they can save it, walk away, and come back and revisit the work. You know, if they only ate a little bit, they're not going to start. You can say, you know what, let's save this bit, let's do whatever. I don't know if you could do that with food, but just get them to be able to understand what are the steps and why they have to now eat faster, or why they have to stop playing, because there's something else happening. And the more that they're able to see that, the transition will be much faster. I think you have All right, so that gives us to transition into the home environment. So another important pillar of Reggio Emilia is how the environment affects your child's learning. So one thing I like to do as a teacher is I actually like to go down and I like to see the space in their eye level. A lot of the times the spaces are designed for the adults, they're not really designed for the children. So one thing we recommend is allowing your child to have access to their materials. And that doesn't mean just toys. You should allow them to have access to their books, to their art materials, to their cutlery, to like anything that they need to do, they have to be able to do it by themselves. So imagine you're encouraging them to be independent, but everything is tucked away. So that means they have to come to you and ask for help, and that's really taking away their independence. So think about your space at home. Is it visible for your child? Can they see their books? Are the books actually visible with the cover? Is it tucked away? Is everything behind closed doors? Can they see labels, the baskets? All of that has to be changed, so for your child to be able to do that. We naturally do that in the classroom, so it's not just about us teaching them independence. The classroom is actually set up to help them do the thing that we're asking them to do on their own. Also, make sure the furniture is appropriate. A lot of the times the chairs are too high, the table is too low. Find furniture that your child is able to kind of maneuver and use on their own, so that will help them as well. And creating spaces that they can have alone time. You know, like children love nooks, and they have, you know, they like to have a cozy area that they can go and separate. A lot of the times with families, they have a beautiful family space, but then the kid's space is like anxiety and it's hidden away. Like you want the child to feel like this is their home as well and this is their space as well. So create small nooks and small areas that the child knows this is my alone time space. And we create that in our classrooms as well. Like, it's okay for the child to go away and kind of sit and read a book by themselves. That helps them self-regulate. So think about the environment in your home and how that helps them become more independent. So those are two examples of a space that is cluttered, it's overwhelming, it's overstimulating, there's too many things, and a space that can help your child become independent. You know, they have access to their materials, the toys are organized, you know, a child is able to see that, you know, if I want to take a teddy bear, I know where it belongs. So this immediately makes it simple for your child to kind of be in that space, play together. You will enjoy being in that space as well. So one of the things that I recommend is just to reduce the clutter. There's often too many toys, too many materials, and then the child finds it really overwhelming to take care of those things. So in the classroom, I usually rotate my materials every month. Whether it's markers, like they don't have to see all the markers. You know, maybe 1 month they are exploring paint sticks. Another month we're doing watercolors. Another month, so the more you simplify the materials, they actually play with it with more care. And then you teach them, you know, this is a glue stick and I'm going to close it and this is where it lives. And then they model that behavior. But just simply giving them toys and materials does not equal like deeper play. It actually creates a lot of anxiety. Another thing is finding spaces or thinking about how you store materials. Often everything is dumped in a big bin, and then your child has to dump everything out or has to dig through their toys to find it. And really, they just want to play. So if you simplify it, if you put it in front of them, then they can find everything they can access easily, and they can store it that way easily. So cleanup will become smoother. There's going to be less problems in the home. You can make it playful, but continue to practice and model for your child. Yeah, so those are 3 examples of how the environment actually supports your child's independence. You know, siblings can sit together and play and read books by themselves. But if you notice, the covers are actually visible. And that's something that we do in the classroom. If a child is looking for a specific book, they can see the cover. If there's not too many books, they can hold it with their hands, they can grab it, they can put it back. But a lot of the times, books are with the spine, you know, they're stored as a library. It's for the adults. You can read the title. Your child, I was laughing. Your child cannot read the title of the book, so they cannot find the book. So they have to depend on you to find the book and sit and read it with them. But we want them to read books by themselves. So this is a small change that you can do with your family. I like to have little cushions. Again, it creates like a cozy space for your child to sit and read. Another one is a self-help, dress-up area. So having a small area where they can put their shoes, a small chair, even if they cannot, it tells them this is the space where you can sit and dress yourself and put your jacket and, you know, look at yourself in the mirror. And then lastly, we have a little stool that can help them put their plates away, put their cups away. They don't have to wash it, but it tells them, you know what, if you want to do it, you can. So 3 simple changes that you can do at your home. So all of that eventually leads to big rewards, right? Like we want our children to be independent, we want them to be resilient, we want them to be confident. These are not skills that you're developing as an adult, it's actually things that happen in early childhood. And the more that they practice and fail, they see themselves are capable. They see that I can do it, I can do hard things, I can fail and not have a meltdown. You know, like those are things that really speak to the child's identity and how they view themselves, which are huge for Reggie and Amelia, and really starts now. A lot of the times, it really doesn't start till like middle school, high school. We talk about self-confidence, but this is the time to practice, and it comes from independence. It comes from allowing your child to do things by themselves. So the gold nuggets to walk away with today are really 5 main areas. And the blue parts are things that you can actually say to your child. So the first thing is trust your child. And what we say in the classroom, I know you can do it. You can keep trying. And I model to them, you know, like Miss Sarah gets frustrated, but I'm going to keep trying. You have to show them what does it feel like to try and believe in yourself. So that's something you can say. You can say, keep trying. You can say first, second, third, so that way they understand that there are steps. You can show them that you can break down a task into different steps. Be patient and realistic. Again, like Ms. Gemma said, just don't practice Monday morning and we're actually trying to get to school. Practice when you have time to sit together. Practice with the dolls. Practice with the animals. So there's not so much pressure on your child. And then you can say, amazing, you worked so hard. You know, we're not going to correct our behavior to make it perfect. We're going to say, you know what, you tried your best and I'm so proud of you. Children feed off of that and they will continue to practice. You know, we all have that teacher from childhood that saw us and believed in us, and then we actually worked harder because of that. So children are able to kind of read that energy and understand that, you know what, mommy trusts me and daddy's excited. And, you know, so using this language allows them to get motivated and excited to try hard things by themselves. And then finally, keep practicing. Independence takes a lot of time. You know, a lot of times they say pre-K teachers are very patient because everything takes time. And, you know, after a month, they might perfect a task, but then it might change, and then we go back and revisit. So it's not always going to be perfect. But, you know, we're kind of on the same team. So the more you do it, the more we do it together. It's going to come together. Nice like this.
I have actually two questions. So the first one is, how do you do this when you have two kids different ages? Like, if I tell my 4-year-old something, oh, let's put the stuff where it goes their own place, she might be able to do it, but the 2-year-old is like, oh no, of course not, I won't do it. Like, how do you, oh, but you have to do it because you understand, but he doesn't understand, so it's okay. How do you deal with
I
it?
think just allowing him to understanding his developmental age, he's in a more sensory-seeking age. So for him, getting messy is part of it, but he can clean up, you know, but if you're allowing him to not clean up and then, you know, she will say, well, how come he's not cleaning up? You know, you have to hold everyone accountable. Mommy has to do it, daddy has to do it, the helpers in your home have to do it, everyone has to do it. Children are capable, but you have to hold the same standard, right? They might do it in different levels, but if one person kind of gets away with it and the other doesn't, like, it doesn't seem fair, and that's when kids, they notice that, even in the classroom. So that's a whole different lesson about, you know, different people have different needs. That's something we talk about in the class. But sometimes I can say, you know what, but he did his best, and we're going to celebrate that. You did your best. Maybe you can do more. You know, so to not make it a comparison, but to say, you know, like, you actually tried your best, and he can only do this much. Maybe you can help him. So then it kind of encourages her to be supportive to him and show him how to do it. And on a separate time when she's not around, I can say, okay, Colin, this is how you will clean up. Because kids also know what they can get away with. They're very smart. So I would say just separate the times when we're teaching them kind of the different tasks and understand that there are different age groups. So they're not going to do the same thing exactly the same way, but you have to hold them accountable as well. Like if Colin's job is to put 2 cars away, he should put the 2 cars away. And then, you know, Bianca can do the other.
Yeah.
I think siblings could be huge motivators. And so sometimes with things like cleaning up, do they know how to clean up? Yes. Do they want to clean up? Maybe not. But if it becomes like we're going to teach Colin how to do this, we're going to teach our brother how to do this, our sister how to do this, and have them be an active participant in that, or now you're going to be like the teacher, you know? Yeah. Then you're just bringing play into it, and they're getting it done. It's getting done a little bit quicker because it doesn't feel so heavy. Okay. But, you know, a lot of these tasks, some of them really does, like the socks, the shoes, practice, practice, practice. Sometimes cleaning up, it's more of like, we know how to do it, but it's not the fun part of play. But it's still part of play. So this is how we're going to do it. So I think using as a motivator is also good.
And in the classroom, I always make it about this is our community and we're all responsible. So sometimes kids like, I didn't do this. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. We're celebrating that we took care of our classroom. And I always say, this is not Miss Sarah's classroom. These are not my toys. These are for all of us. And I always say, you know, imagine you come to class and everything is a mess. Are you going to enjoy? And they're like, no. So I make it not about me. It's not about this is your job to do it. These are my classroom rules. It's more about like, oh, I'm very sad. And sometimes we leave the mess as is. When we come back, I'm like, oh, we left it this way yesterday, so we can't play until we clean it up. You know, so the more they understand this is about our space and we're a team and we do it together, they actually start helping each other. So that might help.
And you can see that in the values of your family. In our family, we are a team.
Yeah,
you know, and so it translates. It translates
do it together. Yeah,
we do it together.
Well, thank you. My second question is that you mentioned it a little bit. So my daughter, 4-year-old, she used to dress up herself in the morning. I don't know, 6 months of beauty to come out of her room already ready.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, I want you to help me.
Yeah.
Why? So should I go again and, oh, this is how you dress herself, let's go back to the steps, or like,
So
I mean,
kids
change
do
you
that
for a
when they
big
want to
girl.
spend time with their parents. So even in the morning when they're like, oh, they just want attention and they don't know how to ask for that. So
Okay.
usually what I tell parents, you know what, spend more time with them on the weekend, make it special. Like go and play it, separate the siblings, which might be hard. But a lot of the times one of the siblings will be attached because they feel like, you know what, I'm going to school and there's all this change and you're going to work and I'm alone and I miss my mommy and I know this is the time that when I ask for help, mommy will come.
Okay.
So you can say, you know what, I know you need extra hugs, now you have to do it, I can give you extra hugs after you finish. Or you know what, this weekend we'll plan something together. Do you wanna go for a walk? Do you wanna make cupcakes? You know, like kind of give them options to understand, like I see you, I love you, I care about you, but now your job is to put your shoes on. So like make her understand, like this is not the time you will get the attention, you can get my attention with these other times. Because a lot of, again, in the classroom, when they see, like, if one of my kids is sad, is crying, and I'm giving them attention, all other 14 kids, Miss Sarah, I miss my mom. And I can say, oh no, but now I'm helping this friend who's sad, I will help you after. So again, to acknowledge, like, I care about you too, but now it's about this friend who actually is hurt. You know, because kids will understand how to kind of want to get your attention at the time. And I'm sure it's like closer to like going to school, getting ready, like that's usually when they're like, no, I'm not well and I need an extra hug. So that's what I recommend usually.
Because they're not unlearning.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
they know.
They just know.
They love you.
So we'll transition to Miss Erin again and kind of think about some reflections.
And we will have time for questions too. So if there's any other questions, you will have a minute. But before leaving today, really what we wanted to do is just have you choose one thing that you are going to start implementing today. So what is a change? And I think, you know, there's been a couple of different things. I do also invite you to walk up to the board because there are some really great examples of just right tasks there as well that had not been put up. But is it the spaces in your house? Is it the just right task? What is something that you want to start implementing today? So just we'll give you a minute to think of that. And if anybody wants to say it out loud after to really make sure we can hold each other accountable.
I just added a visual timer to my Amazon cart.
Yeah.
And a kitchen tower for her to help in the kitchen. So.
The kitchen tower is one of the best things I ever bought.
Yeah.
They are awesome.
And email your teachers. We have a list of things that we love using that could probably be useful at home as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, please, me too.
Anybody else want to share?
I think what you just mentioned with me, I'm thinking she always wakes up earlier and she used to have that time with me.
Yeah.
And I go to the other room to get her brother. So I think waking her up 5 minutes before so I can be there while she gets dressed, which I stopped doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I do have a question. My 5-year-old came to me and told me he wants to have his shower alone. And then I said no. Not because I'm pretty sure he can do it, but like I don't want the task that 10 minutes end up bubble party in that long. So it's something I'm just postponing, but I was like, did I give him a wrong signal that you're not gonna be able to do that, or?
I would make a deal. I would say, how about on those days, mommy will help you. On, let's say, Saturday morning, I'll let you try for this much time. Use a visual timer, or I can be by the door, and then when you're done, I can help you. So I think tasks that involve like risk or taking chances, obviously we're not saying just let them be. You have to teach them how to do the hard things safely, do that with safety.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of times, even like if I have a kid that is like going home and I have to send them to the door, usually I walk them to the door, but if they say they want to, I can say, you know what, Miss Sarah's going to stand here and watch you when you get to the door, wave at me, give me a thumbs up, and they're literally like, they take it so seriously, but I have to know that they can do it. So with him, let's say you're practicing doing a shower, you can say, okay, show me how you're gonna do it by yourself. You know, let him show you.
Of course, I'm gonna be watching him.
Yeah, but then make a deal. So you can say, you know what, on this day, I'm gonna let you try for this much time, or mommy will be standing by the door. I'll let you try. Because we don't wanna take away the thing that he's excited to do by himself. And I'm not saying like let him go and close the door, but you have to make a deal that is adult appropriate as well. You know,
What about the
Set
bathroom?
expectations, well, I would say, set expectations, have those expectations be really clear. I'm trusting that you're going to do a really great job. Let's talk about what does a really great job look like? And what does that, break it down, so that, just like when we talked about, there's this many steps to taking a shower, okay, so what are you gonna do? What happens first? You explain it to me, if you can tell me what you're going to do and what your steps are, okay, then on the Saturday, we're gonna let you do that.
You know how much soap to use. Like I show them when they wash their hands. One pump, 2 pieces of tissue, this is how much bubble. Like everything we model in the classroom. A lot of them don't know. Like they just put their hand under the water. So I'm like, that's not how we do it. So ask them to show you, model it together, break it down into steps, and then you can allow them a little bit.
And then the second thing, sorry, but like the timer now, this year, they came to me and they say, no timers at school, we don't want timer at home. Just come to us and tell us it's on. And then I come to them and say, no, 2 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And the timer is not Alexa, not Google, nothing's working.
Well, unfortunately, these tools are used to kind of like control. So sometimes we're overusing the timer, or even the reward system. We say, oh, if you don't do it, we're not going for ice cream. So like, it has to be used strategically and not be used to kind of like control the environment and control children. So I would say, you know what, this is how you do it, but only use the timer for specific times. So it's not on every single thing, so they don't feel like it's controlling their lives.
Exactly.
We only use timer during, like, let's say eating, when there's a transition, or during playtime when there's, again, time to clean up. I'm not using a timer when I'm reading, I'm not using a timer when it's home time. Like, if you overuse it, then they get cut up. Only use it when there's a transition, so they know now I'm going to the next task. It's not to say, oh, now you're in trouble and now I'm going to take away something. It's really to help them understand it's time to stop.
And I'm wondering if they're like, no, it's because we want 5 more minutes of TV, or we want this, like they're trying to extend the time, whereas like it's like, no, this is how much time you had left. So whether it's on a timer or not on a timer, you're done, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do when you use the timer for eating time? Like if he doesn't finish eating, my son is great, still eating.
Yeah.
If he doesn't finish his meal by that time, like you tell him, okay, you're not eating anymore.
No, so in my class, again, I use it for transition. So I usually put like 30 to 40 minutes for snack and lunch. But after that, we have to like go to PE music somewhere. And I have to transition. I have to add time for like bathroom, washing our hands, lining up, walking. So if we're not done, they simply close their snack box, they leave it where they are, they put like their picture next to it. We do our transition. When we come back, I ask them, it's like, are you still hungry or do you want to put your snack away? The others have transitioned, like some of them could be maybe reading a story, playing, but the child that has saved their snack, I ask them, like, do you want to keep eating? They can. Honestly, they can eat any time of the day. Like, it's not an issue. We have to go somewhere. So when we come back, if they feel like they're full, then we just put it away.
No,
if they're not,
at home, so the next time he's gonna eat is let's say this is lunch. So
Yeah.
next time he eat is the dinner or.
I mean, I think that's more of a personal choice as a parent. Like, if you give them an hour and you feel like they ate half of their food and that's okay, it's okay to kind of move on. I don't have kids at home, so I don't know. But so for the mommies, like, for me, I just feel like it's okay that they ate for an hour. Like, if they actually get faster, even in the class, like, I start the year with, like, giving an hour for snack and lunch. Towards the middle of the end of the year, it takes them 20 minutes. Because we practice, we sit, we eat. There are no toys, we're not watching screens, we're just eating. So they actually eat faster. But it takes time. I'll let the mommies answer.
I'm also part of the Very Slow Eater Club. And so really what it is like, this is the time that we have to eat. The next time that you will be able to eat or have a chance to eat is snack time or dinner time or whatever. And then that's it. This is not going to be an all-day grazing event, because then it becomes this thing where it's like all day long. And so for us, and I think there's so many different schools of thought around eating because it's such a power thing and all of these things. So I definitely encourage you to like read up on different things, but for us, that's kind of what has worked. This is our time for eating, and the next time you'll eat, and then we're done. And so, because a lot of it is not it's just like wanting to talk and chat and this and all of these things. And so some kids are different and they finish all that food on their plate within, a couple of minutes, and some aren't. So I think just kind of having some boundaries around that and some expectations.
And I think just food is one of those ones where you have to be so careful, because if you're forcing, pushing, it becomes about control, and we don't want to get there.
So,
Question. At school, my Paul's older was he picks up his tools, he finishes his lunchbox, he goes to the bathroom, he does his shoes, he comes home, it's a different job. And I'm sure I practiced it at home because teachers would tell me he's so good at it. Like my son, like even he picks up his toys at home, it's a battle. So what am I doing wrong? It's a different human being, honestly.
I would start small. Pick one task. What? Because now you know he can do it, right? If the teachers are really like, no, 100%, the capability is there. But now it's then also instilling it at home. So instead of being like, I want you to put your shoes on, put this, and do all of it, I'd say start with one. Get him doing that at home, then grow it, so that he doesn't just feel like changing everything about my house, you know? And so, because you want him to be on board, I know that you can do this, you're such a big boy, you know? Encourage, but I would start small and building. Would you guys suggest anything else?
I think as well, just making sure everyone in the house is on the same page, and one person is not doing it, and then you are banging your head against the wall.
I think our issue, like we were talking, is that we have help at home,
Yes.
so sometimes it's not consistent. If we try something, unfortunately, like the caregivers will not do it, or the office, or the dads, most of the time.
They know what to do. They're so
But yeah, and we see it, you know, they're my little princess, I want to do everything for them. That is not helping them, you know? We want them to be strong and independent and capable, and all of these things with coming, and I know sometimes it just feels better to just do it for them, but long term, that's just such a short term gain and not working on any long term progress.
Kids know, they'll go to my IM and be like, Miss Chris, could you? So we always say, like, whatever Miss Chris says, I will always support. Whatever I say, she supports. So the kids know, like, we're a team. Even if we don't agree, in front of the kids, we're doing it together. So sometimes we speak out loud and be like, Miss Chris said.
I'm shocked, I'm really shocked. When I went last day to the teachers meeting, I'm like, is he cleaning up? I'm so sorry. She's like, no, he's great at cleaning up. I'm like, oh, okay. Is he going to the bathroom? I'm so sorry. No, he's going to the bathroom.
But you're not alone, like most of
Yeah,
our kids are
everyone.
very different at home.
So you're doing everything great, so you should. No, really, I think kids know, like, they show their best selves to their parents. They're in their safety space, they're comfortable, they know at school they have to do different expectations, but maybe, like, have a family meeting and talk about expectations.
Or a nanny meeting, you know? I think so many of the nannies just feel like my job is here to just do and care, and this is what this looks like, and that might not be what it looks like for your house. So I think you have to really be clear about that. Like, it's really important that they do this by themselves. I know you love them, but this is how we're going to show them is by building.
Making time.
Yes.
My son is quite independent at home, and it's borderline now too independent, like getting the ladder, getting eggs from the. So the problem that we had this weekend was that he went to be independent and get the eggs so that I can help him make eggs for breakfast, but we dropped the eggs, 15 eggs on the floor. So how are you guys dealing with the bigger disappointments? Because for me that was like, I didn't know, you know, I'm okay if he goes into the fridge and tries to get things to eat, that's fine for me, but when something like that happens, how are you guys dealing with it in the classroom environment when it's like quite a big disappointment from him trying to be independent? But
That's huge, yeah.
So I think what I do is I flip it and I turn it into a positive. You're learning. When we make mistakes, we're learning. I know, but like you have to be so careful because you don't want to stop them from doing it again. And I know like that is painful, but it is important to try and be as positive as possible. And you know, he won't do that again. He's like, you know, and even if it's something like changing the way that the eggs are stored in the fridge. So maybe like, so it was obviously like a large.
it was, you know, this like.
So I would just,
container with the top on it.
yeah,
I
so
mean, it was-
I would get a smaller container that, you know, if he's going to take eggs, that he takes the smaller container. So again, it goes back to what Sarah was saying about setting them up for success within the environment. So just looking at how the environment is set up. But when those things happen, they're going to happen.
And you don't think that there's a limit, like, between I should just let him try and.
I think there is definitely. As the adults, we're the ones that have to set the boundaries because again, children kind of thrive in clear expectations. So a lot of the times parents think regulating means we're just like free flowing playing. We have a lot of expectations, we have a lot of boundaries, but the child is involved. So in that situation, I would say, first of all, you have to understand how to show disappointment. Anytime something happens in the class, the kids are looking at me like, how will I behave? So teacher, oh, so sorry, like that broke, what are we going to do? So you show them now we have to problem solve. Am I going to clean up for you? Like I have my wipes by the counter, I have my sprays. They know now that if they spilled something, they're not freaking out because they made a mess. They're like, oh, I'm gonna wipe it, and they actually do it by themselves.
And he does that with the raw eggs. We're kind of like, can you just please sit down?
Yeah. So I tell them next time, just ask mommy to help you, or can I show you how to carry it? Or you know what?
I just felt like I was unprepared for that big of a disappointment for him.
Yeah.
Because he's so confident.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just this big. So I
Did
don't know if
he
you guys
feel
experienced
sad and
similar-
upset?
He was like, oh, I'll clean it. Oh, I'll get more with the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He was trying to he was trying to find a solution, but there was also a lot of disappointment because it was a massive mess and he couldn't really partake in the cleanup of it.
Yeah. I think having a conversation about it once it's settled,
Yeah.
and definitely like with what Gemma said, maybe create a different system where he can do it successfully, or you can say, no, next time I see that you wanted to do by yourself, next time can I show you how to do it?
Yeah.
And you did your best.
And in the moment when they are going and they're spiraling, when they get into that kind of irrational brain, you have to let them have the feeling, I know you're really disappointed, but we can fix this problem together. So, because you don't want to knock their confidence, as you said, and it's not like he maliciously threw the eggs on the ground, so it's just about managing that as well.
And I think there's always a safety, right? There's some things that we're going to do independently and we're going to encourage, and there's some things not. Like Nicole was mentioning about like walking across the street holding hands, but then they get to a point where I don't want to hold your hand, I can do this all by myself. That's not what we're gonna do. We walk, we hold hands when we're crossing the street, there's a lot of cars coming, I want to make sure that you're close to me and you're safe, So I think that, like Sarah said, there is
like a.
and there are some things that we say like, that's actually a mommy job. I'm gonna do that, and that's okay.
And again, it stems back to your language, it's a mommy job, or we need to have a safe body. Like, I'm forever when they're eating, and they try to stand up and walk around, we need to have a safe body when we're eating. We need to have a safe body, we need to sit down when we're eating, we don't talk when we're eating. So having those boundaries and also the language is what will help you establish the boundary.
I bought this device, it's called like a skylight, and I have something like make your bed. And when my son makes his bed, he's excited he clicks it, he gets 2 stars. When he reaches 50 stars, we go to green 1. It makes him do his bed. And then I was sitting and I was thinking to myself, I do my bed, and it's not rewarded because it's just an expectation of life. So at what age does it become, good job, you did your bed, 2 stars, we'll go to green, and is it you do your bed because that's the thing that one does? You clean your toys because one should respect their space. Like at what age, because I have like a hopefully incoming pre-K, a K1er and a grade 1er. And for me, they all should be doing the same tasks, but I reward one different, do you see what I'm kind of trying to say? I'm not sure.
Huge, actually, yeah. So I always say we have to delay gratification. So again, a classroom example is I usually start the year with everything celebrated. You walked into the classroom, amazing. I slowly take that away, because I want them to come in excited, and I want anything they do, I'm super celebrating. It's like a clown, really. But then I take it away and I make it harder and harder and harder. So I do have a jar with stars, and I say we earn the kindness. Obviously, there's different philosophies about rewards. I think we have to make it visible. I like to have it, again, it's as a classroom, we all cleaned up, my center's manager gave us a thumbs up, we earned a star, amazing. But then I make it harder. So I can say, oh, now this is easy for you, I'm gonna trick you. I make it a game. I can say, oh, you're so good at making the bed, I'm gonna make it harder for you. Next time I have to make the bed and. something else. So you make it harder for them to earn the reward, and then eventually it becomes normal. It's like, I'm not giving you a star for this. You know how to do it. I'm going to give you something harder.
So I wean them off the star.
But make sure they, yes, but make sure they know. So all of a sudden you change the system. You have to talk about it first. They have to understand how to earn the next challenge. But yeah.
And I think it's a slippery slope, right? Because then it's like, well, I did this, what am I gonna get now? Like, you know, it's not always about that. And I think sometimes, and from like when would we suggest that? Sometimes I think there are things that are just really, really becoming difficult. I remember like my daughter and potty training was really becoming something that was becoming a big thing. So they were like, we're going for the sticker chart. Like we're basically now at like, I'm at the end of the rope with it. We've tried all of the things. This is really becoming. We just did the sticker chart 5 days later. She's done and dusted. We went to the movies. Never again. You know what I mean? And so for that, yes, but I feel like it's like really when it's something that you're really, really struggling with and there's maybe some incentive where we're at the point now where there's, you know, but I don't think that it's for like the everyday expectations because that is just part of what we do. You know, you come in, you unpack your bag. That's what happens. And so that's just part of our routine.
Sometimes it's just like a verbal thing. Like I had a kid yesterday that did their socks by themselves. They're like, Miss Chris, did you see it? She's like, oh my goodness. They're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like it doesn't have to be a reward and a sticker, but some kids, they thrive off of that. So I'm like, I'm gonna give you something, don't tell anyone. And I put it on their hand and they feel special. Like it doesn't have to be such a big celebration, but you have to know like their personality and what works for them. Because sometimes like, well, how come they got one? I'm like, yeah, everyone, do you feel nice in your heart? Great, let's go play. like they like that too. It doesn't have to be a whole celebration.
Yes. And you might just like the checklist too, like some people just have a light where you push the light and it turns on.
Yeah.
And it's that's
They
enough
definitely
for I do
love
that and you know.
There are stuff they don't get stars for and stuff they get stars for, and I think that's what I'm gonna have to. Like anything routine related, they shouldn't be getting stars for because it's expected. You make your bed, you clean your toys,
Yeah.
play in the sink. Maybe bigger achievements can
And they do it by themselves. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But a visual checklist or checklist is still helpful for them to do things.
They love it.
You can just have pom-poms in a jar. That could be like, Ray, you earned another pom-pom. It could be anything. They get excited that they put the pom-pom, they pick the color, is it a sparkly one?
Yeah.
You can make it anything. Yeah. All right. We have some resources.
Yeah, these are some of the similar resources to the last Talk Tuesday we had, but we have also added some that are really focused on independence. And so these are books that we use as teachers, we use as parents. They are very transferable, and they're some of our favorites.
Yeah. Alika actually has a series of like, I can do it, I'm growing up, like, and at the back there's a list of things that kids do by themselves. So I always read this at the beginning of the year, and then they look at the pictures and they say, oh, I'm gonna practice brushing my teeth, or I'm gonna practice, like it gives them something fun to kind of read and relate to.
And then the last one was, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I bought Good Inside and I used to follow her as well. But I felt like it got to a point where she was like, let's name all of these emotions. And then I'm like, okay, and then what? Like, we've named it, but now what do I do with that? And I felt like, I don't know. I didn't finish the book, maybe that's just from following her, it's like, okay, but then what? Like, show me, like, especially if you have a deep feeling kid. After they've named that emotion, what do you do with that?
Yeah, I think the naming of emotions is really important. The being in the emotion, understanding that all emotions are happening and that some are comfortable and some are uncomfortable and what can we do with ourselves. But I think once they recognize these feelings, is it, okay, now do we need to calm down? How do you help yourself calm down, right? Is it, I'm gonna go take a minute and read a book? Is it, I wanna color? Like, what is it so that they can get themselves back on track? So I think when we look at these feelings, I think that is really important, and I think a lot of what she talks about is really working on being able to, word is escaping me right now.
It's really making it visible. So whether it's sad, and like we have to normalize that you have different feelings, but then the more that you make it visible and then think about, okay, I need to do this, it's about self-regulation. So you could be sad, you could be excited, you could be disappointed. name it, but then what does your body need to deal with it? Like you have to be in kind of like that middle space, not too happy, not too sad, right? Like we have to kind of regulate, and we do it internally. Kids don't know what that looks like, so you have to show it to them and say, "Oh, Miss Tara's so tired. I have to get coffee." I say that to my kids, or like, you know what? Today I'm very tired, so let's not be so loud. You know, I'm gonna read this story, or I'm gonna sit here today. What's going to help me? Like the more I show them how I do with my feelings, they kind of copy that. Or to show them at home, you know, we have this calm space. If you're feeling sad, if you need alone time, I go to the calm space. Sure, we go there together. Like model it, show it to them. Like that's again in my class, that's what I do. But
And we all have that space in the classroom environment that they can go and take that time. And it's just one of those things that children need repetition, and they need to be able to verbalize how they're feeling, and that's how we build on their emotional literacy and awareness. So that's probably why the reason behind like naming those emotions over and over again. But as Sarah said, it's about giving them the strategies, whether that's a calm down space, and different children will need different things. Some children might need to go and be physical, and bounce on the trampoline for half an hour. Some children need to go and have a book, and it's about them recognizing what helps their body.
I was trying to think of resilience. And so, that resilience of like, I feel sad and I don't need to panic.
Yeah.
I'm okay that I feel sad right now. I know how to handle this. That's what it is. So,
it's all different theories.
I like the app.
Even in the books, I think within Reggio Emilia, Montessori, there's so many different thoughts of what is right for children. In the end, you have to do what works for your family, what works for us. Like even our classrooms, every year looks different. The kids come and I'm like, this is not working. Like you have to kind of see how they're developing in the space. Is it working? Is it not? There's spaces that they completely not see. The moment I take it out and move it somewhere else, they rediscover the microtiles. So sometimes you have to like make changes and see what works for you. As they grow, they change. You have to make changes. So all of these resources really, in the end, take pieces of what works and create something for your own family. So it's not really right or wrong answer. We all doing a great job. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.